Alrighty, let's get it on. This is Doc from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I understand the U.S. clown car pulled into Romania today. It left Poland yesterday, or last night, or a couple hours ago. Our Vice President, Kamala Giggles Harris. If anybody has seen the videos, you just got to shake your head. As many years ago, I used to say, when I worked and lived outside the United States, I used to say that the United States is like a large playpen. You know, where you put small children, playpens. You know, they're they're not the what do you call it, the crib, but they're when they're awake, you put them in there to play. It's a playpen, and the Pacific is one side of it, and the Atlantic is the other side of it. The continent itself is like a giant playpen for children. That's pretty much how our adults are. Most of our adults are like children. And so anyway, she giggled her way around in Poland. I thought the statement, "A friend in need is a friend indeed." I thought that was kind of interesting. And we're going to move a little away from that real quick just to go back to the financial side of things. I mean, it's become just crazy here of crazy with the Biden administration. But let's go over and take a look at the markets itself. You know, we have up this morning, what do we have up there? That's, let's see, is that right? Do I have the right one up? Oh, yes, I do. I see it. Okay, so you can see there's the Swiss. And you can see the Swiss is still playing around and above the top of the range, which is very curious. You see that right there. And you can see it on the Hinkies, you know, all the green, and you can see the lines moving up. But the thing that has my eye is here it is now. It's Friday. And I guess maybe the London Metals Exchange will open up again. I haven't seen that. Let's just double check. But so far, I have not seen that the London Metals Exchange is open. Now, the whole $8 billion bailout is a fascinating thing to read about. It's not a lot to read about, but it is fascinating. And it does show us how the financial world is functioning at this point. And the thing is that the bailout is an $8 billion bailout for this Chinese company, and it comes mainly from J.P. Morgan Chase. And again, I always ask that wonderful question: why does anybody in this world think that China is like the second most powerful financial nation in the world when they can't bail out their own businesses? This is a very connected company, and the Chinese government actually owns the London Metals Exchange. They bought it. The Hong Kong Exchange bought it. And the Hong Kong Exchange is owned by the Chinese government. And so they just chose not to exercise the margin. And they closed the exchange instead for I guess they call it a force de jour type of thing. And so it always amazes me, you know, we see this evidence constantly, how weak the Chinese financial system is, and how it does it right in front of our face. It's not like they hide it. You know, it happens all the time, but for some reason, people think of odd concepts like, you know, they're going to be the second most powerful financial nation in the world, and they're going to be, you know, they're trying to become the currency of last resort. In other words, they're the world reserve currency and so forth. And it always amazes me that people say things like this that are relatively responsible people, and you know, in the sense of that they work very big jobs, and they're chairmen of corporations, and they invest trillions of dollars from their funds. You know, they're fund companies, and they invest trillions of dollars, and you know, so forth. And then they say things like this, and then I look at it and I go, well, why did this Chinese, the number one Chinese company, let me give you the name of it. Where is it at? Right there. Where is it at? Right there. The Chinese nickel Tangshan Holding Corp Group, the world's largest producer of the metal, controlled by ex, Xi Gangada, known as the Big Shot, got margined out 250% in 2 days. A paper loss stood at $8 billion on Monday, right? And so the London Metals Exchange suspended trading in the metal on Tuesday after it hit a record $101 per metric ton from $20. Or I guess it's $101,000 versus $20,000, however you want to count that. The exchange has since anticipated trading won't resume until today. We're waiting for it now to see if it's going to open up. As the LME member has defaulted on billions on margin calls, but they didn't bankrupt them. In other words, they didn't do anything. They just closed the exchange instead. Now, the London Metals Exchange itself, the LME, is owned by Hong Kong Exchange and Clearing, whose the biggest shareholder is Hong Kong government, which for the past 2 years has been a puppet of the Chinese government. So it did not hurt Xi, whose empire would have been bankrupt had the LME forced him to make a payment on his margin call. None other than outgoing LME chief executive Matt Chamberlain admitted as much. And here we are. Here it's Friday. I'm looking to see if the LME is running. I don't think it is. Just another classic. In other words, Doc always tries to bring up the subject like, we try to bring up conversation and through math. In other words, we look at things through numbers. Not like we love China or hate China. It's we don't understand. We don't see the money. We don't see the power, and we don't see financial power. We don't see any of these things that everybody talks about. And I'm always confused. Like, what am I seeing? Am I wrong? Maybe the $8 billion default didn't happen. So in other words, if I'm right, the $8 billion default did happen, and the London Exchange now is closed. But if I'm wrong, it's really functioning all week long, and the $8 billion didn't happen. And that's what always confuses me is, why do I see this, but nobody else seems to see this? That's the confusing part. And, there's some of us out there that do see it. But you wouldn't know it when listening to the media or, listening to anybody out there, giving you opinions about the world itself financially. It always blows my mind. And I go back to it as, is there really an $8 billion default, or am I imagining that? Is the London Exchange been closed on trading nickel for the last 3 days, or are they opening today, or are they not opening today? Is it my imagination again, just running wild? And that's what I always wonder. Is why do I see these things? I show the numbers; they're pretty clear, and the media talks like, and these people talk like, no worries, be happy, and that's what blows my mind. It always does. So, anyway, that's me on my soapbox. One last thing about that is I understand that Citibank here in the United States, which is basically trades at bankrupt prices, but you wouldn't get anybody around here to tell you that it's not a good investment. But it's still trading at bankrupt prices. So I guess, in other words, when something is 90 some odd % off its all-time highs, they think that's a great buy. For me, I just look at it and go, wow, it's trading at bankrupt prices, just like the way Deutsche Bank is trading at bankrupt prices. Off of about 94% off its all-time high. So, anyway, we're going to leave it at that. We're just going to say, numbers mean something, and that's why we do our webinar, because I can get this off my chest and just confirm, or let's say I document that in the 21st century, there was an old trader from a major old trader from who was a member of every major exchange during the era of exchange trading, and still talks about the markets like he's still trading in a pit. And Dukascopy is kind enough to allow me to just basically voice or ask my questions, and hopefully other people join in and start to wonder sometimes, like myself, is it live or is it Memorex? Anyhow, that's an old TV commercial from the 80s. Anyway, there we go. I've got that off my chest. I feel good. Matter of fact, it'll probably be the title. Why is China, or who is China, big or small? All right. You can see up there the Swiss is playing over the top of the trading range. And as we started off the webinar, showing you that right there. And you can see it on J4X, the same thing with the lines. And I guess, what we're really watching is there's news out. Mr. Putin said that he saw positive negotiations going on. Yesterday, I know he's been taking it on the chin in Ukraine. Lost a bunch of more tanks, lost the commander of his #1 tank division. He's lost 2 generals and a commander of his tank division, his #1 tank division. So things don't exactly look like the best, but then that doesn't slow Mr. Putin down. And what else can we say about that? It sounds like they're about 9 miles outside of Kiev, and the pressure is on, and they're battling away. All right, from there we'll go over to the euro. Let's see what the euro is doing this morning. And there it is up on J4X. You see it's been green for a couple days, up at the top end of its range when it comes to the white and yellow dashed lines and solid line. White solid, yellow dashed. What we call the Manhattan Project indicator. And you can see that pressure. But, it's been trying to climb. Now let's take a look at it over on Chicago Quant. You see it right there, same thing. 3 days in a buy, 2 green dots. Today the green dot has disappeared. It's just blank, as you can see at the very end. And we've been dancing and playing down here at the bottom end of the range, and it bounced off the bottom end of the range. This is like a 3-year range we've been watching. What else can we say about all that is, I guess, we think that once this is over with, the euro will lift back up again. We really do. We think it will turn around. You can see it obviously in our weekly system, down below the bottom chart there. The green line has been underneath the 0 line. The super, the blue dashed line, which is the super out of the indicator right there, pretty much has tried to lift and showed life in it, but it hasn't been too successful at it, especially when it broke here. When the blue line breaks the green line, ooh, usually you get some real punishment. And you can see it right there, bang away. Zoom down, and now that it's trying to lift here, you see it's trying to lift through. You can see the past strength of it the last couple of days is right there. And that's one of the nuances about looking at the gas line 3 with the 5 super. And what it really is, it's the 5 gas line. It's the plot 1 of gas line 5. So we put that together with gas line 3 as one indicator, and we call it super, because it's a fascinating indicator. It gives a lot of interesting insight. When that line breaks down, it really is a very futuristic direction, running very hot and steady, and pretty successful on predicting future events. It's like the spooky. It's like in quantum mechanics, spooky numbers at a distance. It's that, what do they call it? It's a combination of information that might be right here next to you, and at the same time could be, 1,000 light years away, and they both have a characteristic of being identical in information. In other words, it seems like they're communicating. One affects the other. Something that obviously our generation in the world will never understand. It's kind of like Galileo looking at looking at the sun through a telescope about 4 centuries ago, 5 centuries ago. What's it, 15 something, right? Yeah, so 5 centuries ago, going on 6 centuries ago, and the church putting him in prison, home confinement, because he said, "Hey, guess what? Earth is orbiting around the sun, and so are the rest of the planets that we see." And the church said, no. Earth is the center of the universe. So, we're going to have to lock you up. And obviously, as time went on, Mr. Galileo is right. The Earth is not the center of the universe, at least not physically. Maybe mentally it is, but for some Earthlings. But overall, it's not. And so the math in the end will learn. Not our generation, but some generation in the future will understand spooky numbers at a distance, and the nature of it all. And that's pretty much how we look at our mathematics. Since my math was invented, I've invented it to deal with spooky numbers at a distance. So that is that. All right, from there, let's go over to cable, and we'll just be roaming around here, looking at how the math moves. Look at it. It's parked again. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Right there. So you can see it's parked right there on the bottom end of the range on the cable. And you can see it's trying. See the white line is trying to lift. And matter of fact, is that a plus? That is a plus. It's a 0.00014. And so that's why our numbers sometimes can be incredibly small, because again, the math was developed for atomic theory. So my numbers can go real. I had to limit it on here, where we would go out 9, 10, 11 digits. It would be really bad. And let's take a look at it over on J4X. There it is. Cable's still, showing all the hinky bars are all red, just like our. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. And as you can see over here on, Chicago Quant, you see all the red dots. And that's what the hinkies do. The hinky ASCII bars are a 68% correlation to our dots, and about an hour and a half to 2 hours behind. But they're more accurate than anything else in the public arena. So as much as they may be behind my math, they are the best. They are the best in the public arena, and that's why we show them to you, and that's why we say, this is safe to follow in investing when it comes to using public indicators. And you can see here the white line has pierced the dashed line, the solid white line, and it's trying to move up. And as you can see here, same situation. And that's the Manhattan Project. That is the stochastic. We take a stochastic and we smooth our formula. And what happens by doing so, it gives us advanced information, just like spooky numbers at a distance. And that is, I don't know if anybody knows what spooky numbers at a distance, but it's a physics thing. It's something that Al Einstein and a bunch of the others played with for a long time, and trying to understand what exactly is going on. They weren't too successful, but they try. They tried. All right. Where do we go from here with the cable? As I said, it's playing with its weekly, or it's a what do you call it? It's playing with the bottom of the range there. Okay. There's another name for that spooky something in the distance. As it says, Al Einstein, realist, once called quantum that's an entanglement. I couldn't remember that word, entanglement. Don't ask me why. I'm on a rampage at the moment, probably, so my brain is drifting there. But it's the entanglement. Doc's math kind of resolves a lot of the entanglement. And so, stochastics used on everything, is a leading tool as far as I'm concerned, especially when you use it, which is curious. The Market Technicians Association calls stochastics a lagging indicator, and at the same time they call MACD a leading indicator. And that's only because of the averaging and the percentage. But when you take two MACDs separately, like we do here, and we put a fast against a slow, it makes it a super leading indicator. And so, unfortunately, that is not talked about by the Markets Technicians Association of the world. All right. From there, we jump over to the Turkish Lira. We've been wondering, when are they going to move those MiG-29s to Turkey? Let Turkey give them to Ukraine. Mr. Putin seems to have almost no power against Turkey. He would ignite his own union, the Russian Federation, if he attacked Turkey. And it's a NATO country, so it's kind of like a double whammy. He can't attack Turkey, and at the same time, if he attacks Turkey, he pisses off a majority of his federation. So move those NATO jets, those MiG-29s to Turkey, give it to them, and then let Turkey send it to Ukraine. Seems like a logical thing to me. All right there is the Turkish lira. We're going to go to the dollar side of it first. It's been playing the top end of the range, and just seeing the way the Swiss is going, you have to assume it's still and maybe even piercing the box. So let's take a look at that. And go down to there. There it is right there. And it must be piercing. Yeah, it's banging above the box, and just, I would say, if we widen this more and try to make it clearer, you can see it's sitting right on the box. Just sitting on that box. It'll be fun if everything cools off a little bit in here and it comes back down, and it would be like, oh my God, Doc found the other range. Indeed, entanglement. All right, and then from there we're going to go over and as you can see, we've been in a daily buy right, since here. That white line has been screaming its way up. Same situation over in J4X. Been screaming its way up. You can see all the green on the J4X, just like we have all those beautiful little green dots right there. And you can see the weekly has been, it's been solid. Matter of fact, I don't know where that line got to. We should have a line in there. Why isn't that line in there? So we've been in the weekly buy since back in here. But it's dragging along. It's not the most explosive buy signal now, since President Erdogan has straightened out his currency, and we give him bravo on that. Definitely golf clap. Give him a golf clap for that. That's a good job. He has done some really great work straightening out his currency and dealing with the situation. So we're hoping someday that some of the South American countries and maybe even Russian Federation will figure this out, follow in the footstep of President Erdogan's change of policies back in December with their currency and how to deal with it. And it is a very positive thing. Now you can see here we went into the weekly buy on the weekly right there, and it went up like it normally does. Again, Doc's math is Doc's math. All right, from there we go to what I call location, and that is the euro against the Turkish lira right there. And as you can see there, 4 days now of green. You can see the white line's been very firm. Let's put it up on Chicago and see what it looks like there. Chicago Quant Technologies. I came up with that name. It sounds really good, doesn't it? Chicago Quant Technologies. It's like Renaissance Fund. Renaissance Technologies. Let's see. My competitor on an intellectual level. You can see here, it banged up against it and has rolled over. And you can see, let's move this down. I'm not sure why that's like that is, but let's do this. Let's see if we can move it down. There we go. As you can see here, it's been in daily buy from there. Let's put that in there too. There we go. Seems like some of our lines are missing. If I don't do the save thing like this, they disappear on me. And sometimes I have to reinforce it even more by doing a save as and doing that, and then click to the doodah, and yes, and boom. So you can see there it's looking pretty firm, trying to get to the top end of the rectangle box. Not succeeding too well. And what was it? That went into the weekly sell there, and then it closed in a weekly sell there. But this week we are flirting with the weekly buy, and it looks like it's going to close in it. Let's do this and make it green, like so. Like so. You can see it right there. Like so. And so the weekly is pretty firm, and it looks like it'll close in the buy there. It may be just a dead cat bounce. I mean, this is pretty impressive. I mean, look how long it's been dragging since the beginning or the end of December of last year, dragging across. And here we are going into the middle of March. So obviously, again, golf claps for President Erdogan. Erdogan's figured it out. And I would hope that some other countries use this as a template on how to deal with a volatile currency. All right, from there, we'll jump over to the Canadian. It's been strong the last couple of days against the dollar, which is very impressive. You see here a second day in a sell. So in other words, when this is going down, it's like the Swiss. When the Swiss is going down against the dollar, it's gaining in value. And then obviously when it's going up against the dollar, it's losing. And so you can see here a couple of red dots, 3 of them for 3 days. And let's put it up on J4X. Where are you? Right. It just passed by you there. You can see 2 days of red hinky ashes. Pressure's on. White line, solid white line, is moving down below the dashed line on the J4X. So the pressure's on, and it's matching well with our mathematics as usual. And like I said, it only lags by a few hours at best, hour and a half, something like that. And obviously, to deal with that, you just reduce your time frame if you're an intraday trader, and then it cleans it up even more. All right, from there, because let me just say this about that: it's referencing bars more than anything else. So in other words, it's spatial. So if you go with a spatial bar chart or a shorter term, a 3-minute bar, it's going to be much more accurate. All right, from there, we go over to, let's see, where do we go? Oh, what we do is from the Canadian, normally, we say this every day, normally the Canadian is following the energy market. It's a large oil producer for the size of its country and so forth. Matter of fact, the premier of Alberta, one of the 5 provinces, said, "Hey, you need oil? We can ship you a million barrels a day." Yeah. And instead, Mr. Biden went to Iran and talked to them, and then he went to Venezuela, 2 dictatorships, and talked to them. And just to throw this in there for fun, our embargo thing on energies with Russia doesn't start until June. Where are we at? March now, right? So March, April, and May. 2.5 months before it starts. Boy, talk about Russian collusion. I think matter of fact, here's a wild one I thought about during this webinar already. This has ran through my brain as my mouth is running. I thought to myself, what if they sent Camilla, the giggler, Harris, our vice president, Camilla Harris, the giggle, we call her the giggle girl. She likes to giggle. She laughs all the time. It's on all the videos. She just laughs. She laughed at the Polish president, was it, a foreign minister, live about 3 hours or 5 hours ago. On live, she always giggles. She just starts laughing. I think she's on some type of medication, but that's besides the point. What if he sent her over there, and then and then she's heading to Romania now? What if Biden, since he's probably in some type of collusion with the Ruskies and Mr. Putin, he's given them enormous amounts of money over the last year since he became president for nothing. He's given it to them for nothing. That's the amazing part. And so what if he sent her over there, and now Vladimir is going to smooth out the war, cool it down. I understand she in China is all kinds of paranoid about it. And, he was the one that said, yeah, don't do this until after the Olympics. He told Vladimir, don't do this until after the Olympics. And Vladimir waited. And now, what if he sent her over there, and then they're going to, declare some type of wonderful thing? Because about 2 hours ago, let me just show you what happened. Oh, okay, it's backing off a little bit now. But 2 hours ago, where's that mouse at? Right there. There we go. And let's put it up there too. About 2 hours ago, let me tighten it up. The stock market in the United States was, trading down here. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And then Mr. Putin came out right after our vice president landed in Romania and said something like, oh, by the way, now you can tell, here's the front running of it. Right? There's the front running before the news gets out. and the markets try to back off, and then right around in here, the Dow Jones Industrial Average takes off for 350 points in a matter of minutes. I mean, like right there, I guess that's like, let's see, so that'd be 623. And so it goes from 33,400 to 33,700. And 300 points in a matter of, what's that, 3 minutes? 4 minutes? That's only 4 minutes right there. That's at 6:23 Eastern Standard Time, or it's showing you Chicago time there. So it's at 5:23 Central Time, right? Mr. Putin puts that the story out that he says he sees some positive action in the talks. And 4 minutes later, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, not 4 hours, 4 minutes later, or 3.5 minutes later, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 300 points. And that's what these guys do. These guys right here who bought it there are selling it out here for the moment, or taking some of their profits. And then they'll try to probably, if he says another positive thing, boom. And you can see how good our math is, because it goes into a buy right here, and then it takes off from, what is that? From 33,100, basically. I'm going to round the numbers out. Or the low right there is 33,000, basically. And it runs to 33,300. It goes up 300 points right there in, what is that? That's midnight in 1 hour. Hour and 7 minutes. It runs up there. So, and then it does it again here. Another 300-point move. And this happens in less than 4 minutes. That happens. This took a whole hour to do. So maybe Giggles, we have a clown plane, like a little clown car that flies Camellia around. And she was giggling about 3 or 4 hours ago in a press conference in Poland. Crazy. You can't make this stuff up. That's the amazing thing. If, you could say, I can't watch Doc. I can't listen to Doc. Doc is crazy. And I would, I'd say, well, we got all the videos live across the planet. Nah, we haven't seen it. But I see it. I see it up on, some of the business channels. They won't put it on Bloomberg, and they won't put it on CNBC, and they won't put it on CNN or ABC, NBC, and CBS, because they're controlled by the Democrat Party, so they hide it. But it shows up on, Fox Business live videos, or you could say maybe someone is faking it. You take your choice. I know it's live, and I'm watching it live. And so they play it, and you see her giggling away. Can you imagine if Trump had giggled every time he said something, or Pence giggled every time he said something? They'd be like impeaching them again for giggling. So anyway, that's my question mark, and that's what it is. It's a true question mark. Maybe they sent her over there, and then Putin's going to say something, and it'll calm down the war a little bit more. I understand that the Russian tanks and so forth, they've semi-surrounded part of Kiev, and it's about 9 miles now outside. So I mean, they're in a safe distance, not too bad, but it can fire in, and vice versa. So I don't know. It just catches my mind. And the world, remember, markets are controlled by politics, as much as everybody loves to say they are not, but they are, and that's why the markets move the way they do. All right, from there we'll jump over to, we left the Canadian, and let's go back to the Canadian real quick again. Where is it? You can see it up on J4X there. You can see it moving down. Now what we'll do is we will put the oil market up there, because that's what the Canadian follows, really, is the oil market. And let's put that up there. Right there. No, that's not it. Right there. There we go. You can see here on Chicago Quant Technologies. Right there. Bang, bang, bang. Up a little bit from yesterday. Yesterday's settlement, they say, is 106.02. And it's trading right now at 106.30. So, I mean, it's only 28 cents. The high today is decent. It went up to $110.25. So it's $4 off its high, and about 30 cents. Only a couple pennies away from unchanged. And you can see we're in a daily sell since this little sell-off right here. And what else can we say? But you can see the strength in the product. It's not going to go down that much, but it can calm down, and break into the 90s again, calm down from this craziness. And you can see here, the weekly's been very firm now since last year. And sure enough, when it was trading in the 70s, we went into a weekly buy, and the product went up to about $130 a barrel. So it went up $55 with our weekly signal. Again, can't make this stuff up. It's just what it is. It's just math, traders. That's what we do. We follow the numbers. Entanglement. All right, from there, we take a look at gold. And let me just say this too about that. Normally, when you have this type of action where oil is going up in value, normally, you see the Canadian go down. And in the beginning it did. You can see that. It was going down. And then about a week ago, it just stopped because it was too wild. And then the flight to safety was more important than the natural trading currents, I guess you could say, or normality, or the normal flow. So in other words, it had to run to buy dollars because they were just scared. They were scared. When in doubt, buy dollars. It's crazy, but true. You don't hear them running. I guess that's why we're 50% of the world volume in currency, and the yuan is only 2.7%. So they trade 20% of the currency in the world traded is the euro. It's a kind of a flight to safety. The yuan obviously is not whatsoever. Hence, I don't know why anybody would suggest it would be. Or it would trade at 20% also, or 30%, or 40%. You would assume it would, but it doesn't. It trades at under 3%. So, confusing as it may, for some, not I, but to most it is. All right, from there, we're going to go to the South African rand, because as you can see on gold, we're going to put that up real quick. That's the other side of the Canadian trade, basically. Right, where is it at? Right, go, right there. The pressure on gold, we are down for the day. Again, this is the third day in a sell there, too. And the pressure is down on it. And, we're under 2,000. It's at 1977. So the pressure is on there at the same time. Whatever Mr. Putin had said, it has taken investors and moved them, or fund managers, let's say, and moved them. And they are moving. They are moving in a direction like as if, don't worry, be happy. Indeed, indeed. All right. And you can see here on the South African rand, and let's put it up on Chicago Quant at the same time. Right there. No. What is that? That is, okay, so we have to go Bing, and then Bing, and then the last Bing. And there it is. You can see we are trading down the way it should be. Because the gold's been so strong. And now that the flight to safety is starting to drift, the high-priced gold is putting pressure against the dollar and the South African rand. And as you can see here, it's been trying on the J4X. You can see that. It's been trying and trying and trying from the 1535 area. And we've been saying we expect to see it move back underneath the 15, and there it is. It's trading just a tad, just basically on it, at 14.99.712. So that's under 15 by the hair of the chinny chin chin. And that's the action we're seeing there. All right, from there we go over to Mr. and Mrs. Ruble, one of my favorite currencies, and disappointed so much to see how badly it's being treated. You see, there's Ruble 101. When is that? Is that that's yesterday? Okay, they're not making any markets in it. Let's see what they're doing here in the States. We've started trading. They're allowing us to trade Ruble again here in the States. There it is, right there. You see, today it's trading at 130. It opened up around the 134 area. The high today is 137, and the low is 128. And we've been in a buy for a bunch of days, just marching along. bunch of weeks actually, since the 77 area, and we've been in that weekly buy since the beginning of February, since that 75, 76, 77 area. So math picked that up again. Doc's math, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Indeed, indeed. Again, traders, math is what it's all about in the end. Doc says some odd, off-the-wall things. Unfortunately, they're real. But boy, does it sound crazy when you don't see it on, 9 out of 10 news networks. When it's only popping up on 2 or 3 or 4 news networks, or information networks like the Wall Street Journal or the Fox Business or Newsmax or OAN, One News. And then you see it in a couple of places written by very responsible people like Larry Kudlow or something like that. But overall, it does sound crazy, and it looks crazy when you have 9 out of 10 news sources telling you, no, he's out of his mind. Yeah, whatever he's saying is definitely wrong. Indeed, Doc is math. Doc is entanglement. It is mathematics. All right. From there, let's take a look at the yen. We kept on thinking, and we wrote an article yesterday, Robin and I. There it is. Yen's done it again. Made another new 5-year high. Marching along. You can see we're playing with the weekly right there. Let's get this up on J4X. Yenski. There it is. Matter of fact, the Hinky Ashleys have an average of over $17. For us, the actual, non-average is 1706. Not bad. It's very close to the Hinky. The Hinky is showing us what? They're showing you the 1706, but the average itself, I guess it is. It's showing it correctly. Yeah, the tail is showing it correctly because it's the body, I guess. Or I'm not sure. The average is everything. They average the open, the high, the low, the close, and then they multiply it by 2 and then divide it by 2, and they come up with a number. And that's a Hinky Ashley. And you can see here the white line strong over the dash line there. Good stuff, All right, let's see. From here, we go over to the last of the currencies that we look at. And then, anybody here can ask a question anytime. Interrupt, trust me. Because believe me, this mind needs to be slowed down. And so I love the idea that people interrupt. Please interrupt. Slow me down. This maniac mind of mine just keeps on rolling. My mind is connected to my math, so it's pretty. Since I discovered, or not invented, but discovered the math, 5 decades ago, it consumes me all the time because I see it everywhere. Its actions and its nature. You can see here it is the Mexican peso. Now it zipped through the top end of the range and is trying to bring itself back down. This is the Biden. I guess you call it the Biden spike, that's been basically, I guess that's what we really should call it. It's like the Biden spike, where the market followed along the range for a long while, played the bottom end of the range and the top end of the range, and then you have your little spikes here or there. But then out of nowhere, Biden had that conference with Mexico and Canada, and we got a bigger spike out of it, and then you can see it there. When maybe that's it. That was a flight to safety. That's probably what it was. I just realized that. Because this move here was a flight to safety. They bought dollars, sold pesos. Now that the flight to safety seems to be dying down everywhere in the pairs trades, you can see that the marketplace is cooling off. That's an interesting thought. I never really thought of it that way when we look at that spike from the conference, but I guess it was a flight to safety. He must have threatened them in some way, and that's what made it so outside the range. All right, and there you go. You can see the peso is trying to move back down. We went into a sell yesterday, Or was it 2 days ago? 2 days ago, right there. Because there it is right there. You can see it. That's a minus. So we went into a sell 2 days ago, and it's basically going nowhere. It's just sat on the range, and that's it. Let's widen that a little bit. Let me save that too. And then, you know what? We put the buy in there. Is that it? No. Move the buy over 1 day. There it is. There's the buy right there. The reason, traders, why that's not the buy, even with the line across the zero line, is the red and green dot. It has to be just green or blank, like it was here. But when you get a red and green, we pause until the next trading session. Let's see. Let's save that. I'll do a save as so it stays in there. All right. From there, we move over to. We look a little bit closer at the metals market. Let's do that. Let's jump over to the metals market now. Unless someone has a question or wants to see something, just shout it out. Like I said, when you shout out or look at or ask, it slows me down, which is what I want. It's not it's what I want. Because Doc's mind moves at incredible speeds, with or without me. All right, let's check out. There's gold on J4X. You can see the weakness there, and you can see the white line breaking down. And then you can see gold right here on Chicago Quant, breaking down for the last 3 days. And it's going to take a lot of work for the weekly to change, and I would imagine that the daily could literally lead us sideways down for days and weeks before the weekly could turn, just because of the strength of it. And the uncertainty. Long-term money is not that happy probably to get rid of it until things calm down. That flight to safety. Indeed. So where do we go from here? From the gold, we go to the silver. Let's see what silver's doing. There it is there. Also 3 days in a sell. Now it's only been in a weekly buy 1 week. That could fall if the flight to safety dies down and calms down. And you can see here it's pressured for the last couple of days, even with the green. So, we're going to... I think, in the end result, the flight to safety may... when we see platinum break down, it led this whole move up. And maybe platinum will be the thing that tells us that the flight to safety is done and over with. Not counting the fact, obviously, we'll see it in the pairs trades too. The currency pairs trades will make it very clear. We'll see the Swiss and the Canadian moving down and seeing the dollar lose value against them. All right, let's show you copper, and in our last metals chart, we'll show you platinum. And there's copper. It's giving us a little volatility signal, but it is under from yesterday's close. And let me just double check that number on another machine. Right there. Let me just check out copper real quick on another machine. Copper. And this is May copper. Yeah, May copper basically unchanged to down just a tick or two for the day. Yesterday's settlement was in the 65 and change, and it's a little it's a 65 and change, just a little below it. That's all. Where do we have it now? Actually, we have it at 64.20 now. So, it's showing a little bit more weakness. Let's see. From there, we will go to the platinum now and see what platinum looks like. Like I said, it led us up throughout this whole event. It's been in a buy since literally the last week of December. So, you see here, it's flirting. It flirted with it there, and now it's flirting with it here. And we'll see if it, it's hard to believe that it'll do this, but it could do this do this today. But what it could do is on Monday we might find it underneath the zero line, stronger than we haven't seen it before. And you can see there too. And then what do we have here? So what's the answer to this? I guess you could say is that, you know, it went into the buy again there on that day. And then you had that crazy explosion again, back up to the 1200, or up to the 1200. And now we're like $118 lower. Today's low is 167 basically. So $133 lower. You see the daily's been in a sell for a couple of days since the spike itself. Matter of fact, that day, did it close in this? It closed in a sell that day right there at the 1153. So it's off about $80. Alrighty. And that's the platinum. And I think the platinum may lead us in the end. That'll be the interesting thing. Okay, from there we go over to the energy sector. And as we put up spot again, there is oil, just basically almost unchanged. We'll take a look at, let's see, where we go, over on J4X, let's look at Brent. Brent trading at 109. Spot is trading at 106. We saw at one point where the spread was about $7-8. Now it's really come back down to its natural area of about $2.5 $3. And so you can see Brent trading in the 109s and spot in 106s, and that makes more sense now. I'm sorry, spot Texas, West Texas Intermediate, you know, U.S. stuff compared to Brent. And then we go to the back month. They're discounting it. The contango is very strong. So here's June, which is we're April, which is getting ready to expire next week, and so you have May and June, just 2 months now, and you can see there it's trading at about 100, so it's trading $6 underneath. We saw that contango even worse at one point, about $8 or $9, and right now, you know, you see it's a $6 difference. So it's quieting down because the contract expires 40 days from now, maybe 50 days. Let's see. So we are today's March 11th. I think the April contract expires next Friday. It expires next Friday at the 18th. And then the May contract expires 30 days later. And this is. So the May contract expires 30 days later, and so it's only 60 days out now. So as it gets closer to spot, it's going to lose its premium, you know, or discount. It's going to lose its discount to the front month. So we're only, you know, really 30 some odd days from it being the front month, like 38 days. Now from there, what do we do next? We take a look at natural gas. And there is natural gas. April natural gas trying to lift up again here in the States, trading at the $4.70 price per cubic foot. And over in Europa, we have natural gas trading at, there it is, $24.97, almost $25, or I guess that's 25 euros. So it's trading at $25 euros a unit, and here in the States it's trading at under $5 a unit. Wow, big difference, you know. 6-7 times difference. All right, traders, that's pretty much the energy sector. What's left is what do we got left? I guess we can take a quick look at the stock indices. We've already showed you the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's still, you know, plus by 300 points really for the day. So we'll see. You know, we're going into a weekend. People don't want to be caught on the wrong side. Mr. Putin is definitely not someone you would want to trust in words. So as much as he says he sees something positive, I think we're all going to be waiting. We want to see something positive too, like maybe the military shuts down quietly and starts to back away from 9 miles outside of Kiev, or just some positive stuff. Maybe they shell less hospitals and civilians. They stop killing all that, or I think that they probably are going to try to negotiate. Now that our vice president is there, they can come up with something. Remember, there was collusion with Mr. Obama and the Russian government. We caught him on film on that one. That was interesting. And obviously, Mr. Biden came into office and gave Russia billions of dollars literally in a couple of hours as soon as he became president. So there's definitely some type of collusion going on. We just don't seem to be able to stop it at the moment. I understand. I saw a headline a few minutes ago that said something like, Biden and Kamala have confirmed to Russia that NATO is no threat. It's like, okay. Indeed. All right, traders, we're done. We will catch you all on Monday. This is Friday. So everybody have a safe and a smart weekend. For those in harm's way there in Ukraine, God bless you and be careful. And for the rest of you, just be safe, be smart. This is Doc from North America saying arrivederci. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Ta-ta for now, traders.